I was paying so much in fines and parking fines. In fact, on my P&L, I actually had a line for, parking fees. And I didn't call them fines, I call them parking fees, because I looked at a parking ticket as, hey, I was buying space to make a delivery, right? And it's just so difficult in the Northeast, aside from the weather.
Welcome to Stream, a trucktractortrailer.com production. My name is Zach Miller. I'm your host, and today's episode is co-sponsored by OOIDA, the Owner-Operator Independent Driver Association. Of course, we have the VP of OOIDA, Lewie Pugh, joining us again to continue our series talking about trucking. And of course, John Gilley, the CEO of trucktractortrailer.com, is with us here again today.
Hey, Zach. And I also want to just do a quick shout out to Tom Nardacci and his Troy Innovation Garage. I'm actually sitting in a podcast studio inside the Troy Innovation Garage in downtown Troy, New York. And so thanks to Tom and his team for being terrific hosts. And if you're ever in Troy, New York, downtown Troy, certainly it's a great place to stop by and rent space for the day or move here permanently. It's just a cool place to hang out. Thanks, Zach.
Absolutely. And but John, that does tie into a little bit of the conversation we want to have today, because let's face it, and we know truckers especially, the roads are their office, the highways are their office. Yeah. Finding a rest area for truckers, you would think it wouldn't be such a problem. It is a massive, massive issue across this country, Lewie.
Yeah, I mean, parking and restrooms, all that stuff is a major issue. Most people never give it a second thought because, most of us, we're in a car, we travel across the United States, we can stop about anywhere. When you got something that's 70, 75 feet long, weighs 80,000 pounds, that becomes a little bit more of a task than just driving your Prius. But, I mean, the one thing I will say, the state of Washington right now has some bills out there, which is they're addressing this. I applaud the state of Washington for taking the lead on this. They're doing something we've been trying to get our federal government to do forever, and set aside some money and some grants and stuff for parking. And also, I never thought I'd have to testify about using the bathroom, but they're making a bill that if you're a shipper or a receiver at a port facility and you have restrooms, you have to allow truckers to use them. And, it seems to me that would be common courtesy, common sense, humanity maybe comes into play here. But, it's not forcing them to build them or anything, but if they have them to buy. But I mean, I've been in places delivered and they would not let you use the restroom.
It's disgusting. Just as disgusting a thing as you could possibly imagine. It really is heartbreaking. But yeah, I'm glad Washington took the lead on that. And it's also interesting because I know, Washington, that West Coast corridor, Oregon, Washington, California, they're some of the most expensive and difficult states for truckers to operate in. But it's nice to see them sort of acknowledge maybe the error of their ways and try to make amends in some of these cases.
Yeah, and I personally have never operated out there, so I can't speak personally. But yes, from the people I talk to, it's hard. It's a harder place to operate. A lot of NIMBY there. People don't want trucks in their backyard. A lot of that. Yeah. I mean, to me, the hardest place to operate where I trucked was the Northeast. New England, New York, New Jersey, those places. New Jersey probably was better than most, but when you get up into the New England states, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, all those, they're not truck friendly states at all. There's not a lot of places to park. There's not a lot of places, truck stops. It's just everything's super, super expensive. It's just that's rough. I mean, I was lucky. I trucked a bit enough. I kind of learned my way around and found little places, and and they're out there. It's just a matter if you can find them. But for a guy or a gal who's trucking in these areas and not familiar, it can become really difficult. And
Yeah,
we
Boston,
just-
Louis, especially Boston, right? We were kidding earlier. I was listening to a song earlier this morning about trucking in Boston, and it brought back a lot of memories when I was with Aramark, and we probably had 30 routes, step vans making deliveries in downtown Boston or inside the loop there. And I can't tell you, I wish I knew Zach's dad, Arthur Miller, back then, because I was paying so much in fines and parking fines. In fact, on my P&L, I actually had a line for, parking fees. And I didn't call them fines, I call them parking fees, because I looked at a parking ticket as, hey, I was buying space to make a delivery, right? And it's just so difficult in the Northeast, aside from the weather, right? Yeah, and the other thing too, I'll share with you, and credit to Lewie for pushing me out there. Of course, TTT, we have a terrific partner in TA. They own Travel Centers of America. I visited about 70 TA, Travel Centers of America, and this is not a plug for TA, but it's just an awareness. You have to get out there to really appreciate what the problem is. You have to get out there and walk the concrete at these truck lots, to see how they are sold out, and then not just the parking spaces, but then the amenities that are provided to these over the road truck drivers. They deserve so much more than what we're giving that community. And we can do a whole episode, Zach, on that. But I do want to. I've been following the Secretary of Transportation, Peter Buttigieg, really the last couple of weeks. And Lewie, am I wrong to think he gets it? Am I wrong to think that we finally have a Secretary of the DOT that really understands what the problem is? And the second part of that, number one, does he understand it? Number two, do you think we're finally going to do something about it?
Well, I would like to say, I can't get inside of anyone's mind, but I would like to say from what he says, yeah, he gets it. I think as far as any secretary we've had, he's saying the right things. Now, whether that will turn into doing the right things, time will only tell. We like to hope. I give everybody a fair shake. Me personally, I don't look at people jadedly. I try to give everybody a chance, and hopeful that he does. I'm hoping we just met with the new deputy administrator this week, who's taken over, Hutchison from Minnesota. She seems anxious to help. Some folks that are on the inside of FMCSA, whose names I will not say, but they're insiders and have good connections, say that they feel that Buttigieg and his folks are really wanting to change things and make things better, and that, they finally do get it. And these are people inside FMCSA that I personally believe gets it. They understand the regulatory side, but they understand the trucking side as well. Right. And, that's what makes this all so difficult, because the regulators see their side, us truckers see our side, and somewhere the two of us got to get together and work together to make things right. And a lot of the things we need to do are very, very hard, are going to be very, very expensive to some people. And, and which is what I've continued to say here of late. Nobody wants to do the hard, expensive things. We want to try to do the easy fixes, and the easy fixes aren't going to get us where we need to be, So
I agree, but
I'm optimistic that things maybe we got somebody who's going to change something. But again, time will only tell.
You took the words out of my mouth, because it's optimism, and part of the reason I do have optimism, and certainly the fact that the state of Washington is kind of taking ownership of this to create a template for other states to follow is great. But my optimism comes in the fact that between the pandemic and resulting supply chain issues, between the fact that the issue of just driver pay and how they're treated has come to the forefront, and between the fact that as you say, there's a lot of institutional knowledge in FMCSA that knows they really blew this opportunity with the ELD mandate and not tying it with truck parking. I think all those factors combined make me optimistic that, oh, we get it now. This is a crisis. This is a safety crisis, and we need to address it now, today.
Only thing I would say, and not that I'm sticking up for FMCSA, Congress blew it on the ELD mandate. FMCSA just got stuck making it work.
You're right. Fair. Very, very fair. Very
Yeah,
fair.
I mean, FMCSA will say all the time, well, we didn't make this rule. We just got, we're just the ones who have to enforce it. And, you know, as much as sometimes FMCSA doesn't do things I completely agree with, let's lay blame where blame deserves. You know, I try to be honest and straight with everybody.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
So this is one time it isn't FMCSA's fault. But no, there's a lot of good people at FMCSA that really, they get it. They've been out in the guys who came from out in the field and met with truckers. You know, I have a friend there, you know, good friend there that we've become good friends since I came here. And he said, you know, I used to go and do audits. I sat in truckers' living rooms. I sat in their kitchens. I ate food with them. I get what you guys are going through. And, you know, as a regulator, you know, sometimes my hands are tied. I just have to do what the regulation is. Yeah. So.
Well, I will tell you, I went into today's call thinking it would be depressing, and I'm leaving feeling good about things. I know I probably shouldn't feel good about that, but I do. And Lewie, thank you so much for all you do. Well, again, whatever we can do to get the word out, get your word out, you know that we will do that.
Can I add one more thing?
Absolutely.
Just because of what you said. I think that's great that you're coming out here with positive. And that's why I say I try to be optimistic. Right now in our world, as we see, everything is so negative. Everybody's so against each other. It's just, it's mind-boggling to me. And you know, that's why I'm trying to remain optimistic. And it's so easy for everybody to be hating and hating and hating. And you know, that's it. The only way we're going to turn it around is we got to start being optimistic. We got to start being a glass is half full, not glass half empty people, and try to figure out to move things and work together.
Thank you.
You know, it's just like this thing we're seeing up in Canada. Nobody wants to work together. If people would come out and talk to each other, this would probably get fixed and everybody would go home. Instead of we're building barricades again away from each other. So, and it doesn't matter what you feel. That's just how we all have to work together. So that's it. I'm off my soapbox.
No, it was.
Thank you, Lewie.
I think maybe you should stay there. I couldn't have said it better. Couldn't have thought it better. I'm so happy to have you involved in Stream and to really be a voice of optimism and hope, not just for trucking, but you know, for the American economy in general. If you guys like what you see, please be sure to subscribe to Stream. All the links to the work OOIDA is doing with Washington and the restroom bills are going to be below, so please be sure to check that out, and we'll see you next time.